Welcome to the Acoustic Haven podcast. I'm your host, Valtteri Salamaki, and today we're joined by Delfino Squared, a local band from UC Riverside that is consistently growing. To get this started, we're going to start by having the band members introduce themselves. So
Wow,
let's get this started.
what a host. Thank you, Val. Yeah, well, we're Delfino Squared, and who you're hearing now is the singer. My name is Chris, and I'm sorry, I forgot your question. I'm just introducing myself.
So introduce yourself, but also talk about your inspirations of why you got into music.
Oh, okay. I've always been pretty good at singing. Like everybody sings in the car. They like their songs. And then one day I was in 5th grade, and this girl named Kristen, I can't remember her last name. I wish I did, but she was singing a Demi Lovato song, and unfortunately I knew all the words to that song. And I was like, dude, she's not even doing it that well. Like, I could do it so much better. And in my head I was like, this is how I would do it. And I was like, wait, I can sing. I know what I'm doing. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sing, and just gonna sing more, see how good I can get. And then, here I am, what 6th grade? I don't even know. Years later, and I'm in a band. I never thought this would happen. But once I was in high school, I started writing a little bit, and I really noticed that I liked expressing myself with words, and I had a good voice, so it just kind of melded, and it just happened where I could write pretty decent lyrics, and I have pretty good range. So that's where I kind of came from.
Okay. Did you actually ever have any formal vocal lessons or anything?
I never really had vocal lessons. But once we started the band last year, I figured I'd take the vocal lessons here at UCR, and it just wasn't for me. I just didn't like it. He was just having me sing classical songs. There was nothing about techniques. I couldn't take anything that I learned there outside. So there's no point in me taking this if I'm just going to learn classical songs. I'm going to get in there and we're going to work the songs that I'm supposed to do at the recital at the end of the quarter. That's so stupid to me. I want to learn how to sing, not how to sing these songs. And who gives a shit if I can't perform it well? What the I don't care about this music, dude. Why are you asking me to do something I don't want to do? Yeah. And then making that the focus of our lesson if it's not what I want to do, and I've told you that I'm in a band and I'm doing this so that I can be better at singing. It's not about fucking high row the boatman row. Fuck that, dude. That's so stupid.
Oh, man, you can't just say that to the boatman.
Dude, it was so I remember being do you remember Zion's Walls? Come, fathers and mothers. I sang that so much in the apartment, and I was like, I trusted it for a few weeks, and then I was like, this is so stupid.
This isn't working.
Just the stuff that I wanted to do, it just wasn't happening, and I just didn't feel like I was progressing as much. And now I don't take lessons, and I just kind of scroll through YouTube when I'm trying to find something that I want to do, or I'll just think about when I'm practicing what works and what feels good, and then I'll just try to continue doing those things. So I just do it on my own, and I'm honestly progressing faster now than I was when I was doing the vocal lessons. So no, I'm not trained.
Okay.
To make a long story short.
Hey, fair enough. That's good. That's good backstory.
Anyway,
all right.
Here we go to the next one.
Oh, what's up? I'm Robbie. I am the guitarist, and my motivation for music was I was a little bit lucky. My parents were really into music, and my mom's mom was a music teacher, so she just kind of had a background for it, and she wanted me to do it. She just wanted me to do something, Mm-hmm. Anything that's not video games. That was when people thought video games were bad still.
And
back in 2006 and 7.
What do you think about it now when people are making $6 million?
Video games melt your brains and stuff like that. I was like, Mom, I don't think that's true. That sounds kind of exaggerated, but anyways, besides the point, I did like it a lot. I had an adeptness to it, so I kind of just on and off took different classes. I was very fortunate. I grew up in a place that just offered a lot of stuff like that in public school.
Yep.
But it really took on a different meaning for me once I kind of hit puberty and I started, starting to understand a little bit adult emotions or, more severe emotions than just petty, oh, he stole my lunchbox or whatever, the nonsense. Oh, he called me a name.
Serious stuff, though.
He called me a name over Call of Duty. Yeah. So once I started that and I realized how much, emotional expression that you could get through all of that, it really motivated me to, pursue it more because I like music more. You know, it
Yeah.
made more sense to me, and just kind of grew and grew and grew. My passion grew and grew and grew too with my skill, and so here I am, and I really like writing as well. It's also something that I didn't realize would be fun, and I didn't believe that I could until I did. So
Okay. What's your favorite guitar to use?
my favorite guitar to use, okay, I have a couple. I have a Telecaster, I have an ES339, and I have a Paul Reed Smith. Then I have a Strat that I built. I don't really play that one. The one I play the most is the Paul Reed Smith, so probably that one. I've got a coil tap on it. I've got it in parallel. You know, I got all the features on it.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah. But I love the ES339 and the Telecaster too. I use them both all the time.
Awesome.
So, all right, I'll be next. You guys are listening to Miguel Diaz. I'm the drummer for Delfino Squared. I got into music through my father, actually. He plays guitar for a famous Colombian band, and he tours all the time. Actually, as a matter of fact, as we're recording this, he's getting back from LA right now. From Colombia. He's in LA. So, yeah, he was my inspiration. As a little kid, there was always a drum set in the house. This blue kit, which I still have. I would always just go into the room and pick up some drumsticks, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just banging the drums, right? But I always found a passion in it, and it really made me like want to pursue it. And even as I grew older in middle school, I tried other instruments. I tried playing clarinet and flute. It was
How was that? How was that experience?
I want to see that. You still got some chops?
So what happened was actually the wood that the clarinet is made out of.
Yeah.
I somehow my mouth just got like an allergic reaction
Oh,
to
really?
it. Yeah. So, and we thought it was like the reed that goes in the clarinet. So my mom bought me a plastic reed. Turned out that didn't help, and so then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna quit the clarinet and grab the flute. And I don't know why I chose the flute, but I did, and I had a lot of fun
Flute's
doing
wild.
it. I was like first chair for like 4 years, and I loved it. Even as a like a sixth grader, I was playing eighth grade music with eighth graders.
Nice.
That made me like realize that music was actually something that I wanted to do and could do fairly easily.
Yeah.
So then going to eighth grade, going into high school, I was like, you know what? I've always like wanted to do drums. I've always like drums just always called me. It's like screaming my name, like come back, man.
Damn.
And so I did, and I joined marching band, and that's when everything changed. If it weren't for that moment, I don't think I'd be where I am today. You know, marching band was where I got all my chops, and it built myself as a musician. And so that happened. I did jazz, symphonic band, percussion ensemble,
Nice.
marching band. I did all the bands in high school, and I was fairly successful. Drum captain. Yeah, so I did a lot of music.
Fairly. Dude, you play with a musical prodigy. He's just like, yeah, that was all right.
No,
kinda
man, dude,
cruised.
there's some, nah, man. I try to stay humble. You know?
It's important to stay humble.
Yeah,
but at the same
we don't
time,
have to be humble for you.
But at the same time, your friends don't have to be humble for you. They can advocate
Nah,
on your
I
behalf.
love these guys, man. Yeah. So anyway, that's my inspiration. It all started through my dad, and this is where I'm at right now,
Nice.
and I love it.
When it comes to drumming, I know you break a lot of sticks. So how many sticks do you break a week?
Dude, at one time in one rehearsal, I actually broke like three sticks.
We go
in
too
one
hard.
rehearsal, like which was like in a matter of 2 hours, I broke 3 sticks.
Oh,
And
wow.
That was that doesn't happen. I don't know. I just get into the music that we play, and
He just
we go
breaks it
hard.
every time we play it. He breaks his sticks. I remember the first time we played, he was like, dude, I broke my stick. I thought it was normal. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And he's like, dude, I never break my stick. And I was like, oh.
And that
No.
was the first of many broken sticks.
Yeah, now I just buy bundles of sticks. 'Cause it's- I even break marching band sticks, which are like
That's
Like,
really hard.
it was
to
a
break.
really
they're
thick
really
one,
thick
dude.
sticks,
There
and
was a
I break
point-
them like nothing.
There was a point when I think he broke more sticks than Robbie broke guitar strings, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
crazy because Robbie breaks a lot of guitar
I know
strings.
because every single performance I've seen you guys at.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
There's been one
never
broken
an E-
string.
never
There's
enough
always-
E strings.
There's always that one time, and then anyway, we got Samson coming up.
Yeah, now that all the most talented members of the band have spoken, it's my turn. I'm Samson. I'm the bassist. I'm the most okay member of Delfino Squared.
Stop saying that, man.
Anyway, so inspiration for music. My mom was always really involved in music. She played flute like all throughout her youth, all throughout her life, and so she thought that I should, have music as a part of my life as well.
Yep.
And I was lucky. She had me do. She actually started me on drums. That was the first thing I did.
Interesting. I did not know
Which
that.
is weird. Yeah, I know. I played like drums for like.
Picture, he
3
doesn't even
months.
step on the throne anymore. It's so weird to see. Like, imagine Samson on the drums.
Yeah, I'm like, I sit down. I have no idea what I'm doing. I played for like 3 months when I was like 9, and then I played like piano for a few months, and then comes around like 5th grade, I have to pick an instrument. My elementary school was doing this thing. They were like, yeah, just like you got to play an instrument now, and I was like, oh yeah. My mom was like, you should play cello. It's really beautiful. So like, I could have been a cello jackass, guys. Like, I could have been a cello
What's
douche.
wrong with that, man?
Dude, don't get me started. So my mom still played flute. Like she still plays to this day. She's a multi-instrumentalist. She enjoys music herself very much.
Nice.
But she played flute in a local flute choir.
Nice.
And there was, I didn't know this at the time, but flute choirs have upright basses in them sometimes to kind of round out the sound, I guess.
Interesting.
But so there was a lady who used to be like the principal chair of the Fresno Philharmonic and all this stuff, but she was like retired and she taught still for, she was part of some music union, but she still taught lessons. So my mom said, never mind, you're playing the bass. And I was like, bass? What's that? And they have to order, my elementary school has to order one from another elementary school. I'm the first kid to ever play bass at my school.
Nice.
And so I do that. I'm like pretty good. 6th grade, I get into the youth orchestra, like youth chamber orchestra. It's really easy to do, but it got me like a sense of like kind of passion almost. I was like, oh, I'm only like 11 and I'm playing like this music that's like written by like real composers. We were playing like easier music, but it was like Telemann, like some Baroque composer wrote some slow piece. It was a bunch of the same notes, but like it made us feel good. Like it was a bunch of little kids playing real music, and it was good. And then come around middle school, like 7th grade, I played in the advanced orchestra and all that. And then I picked up like electric bass guitar. The first bass I have is the one I play today. I just popped out the pickups and changed them. This guy Robbie helped me. I was completely like unenlightened prior, but now I'm all about it. So yeah, but anyway, throughout high school, I get into this high school in Fresno that's very music oriented.
Yep.
And you have to take like theory classes. I got really into theory. Like I was learning about chords, and it fascinated me. Like I wanted to write music, but I just didn't know what to write about. I was like, I kind of had this block. I didn't know what to do. But I knew about theory, and I started to get better at bass. My junior year, I was like principal of the youth orchestra in my high school, and I played like a concerto. I was getting like this was the point when I was really finding myself in music, being like, this is kind of fun. This is something I enjoy. And then senior year, I kind of lost. Senior year, I got more into jazz. Actually, I played jazz for years alongside, but I got more into jazz senior year, and then when I got into college, I kind of just lost a drive because I'm not a music major. I'm a cell, molecular, and developmental biology major.
Whoa. Nice.
Excuse me. But so I kind of lost a drive for music. And then over that next summer, Robbie, and throughout that year, I met Robbie. That was when I met Chris and Robbie.
Samson and I were roommates.
Yeah, freshman year. And then we
lived right below me.
Yep.
We had a bunk bed.
Yeah, dude.
Nice. That's crazy that we had a bunk bed. It didn't feel like that.
We had a bunk bed. And then we met Robbie. And I would jam with Robbie, but I was just like so like burnt out musically. I didn't know like what I wanted. I started making like beats kind of, which was fun. But like, I wasn't
really into that for a while.
I was kind of, but I should have been doing it more, honestly. I should have been, if I was really about it, I should have been doing it. Anyway, that's besides the point. I got more into playing bass, and Robbie got me to kind of get into more music, and this was a point in time I was like for the first time reaching out beyond my listening to classical jazz and progressive rock from the 70s as I did in high school. So I started listening to more music, and I started to get like the chills that I got when I first listened to bands like Pink Floyd and Yes, and like listened to like jazz for the first time, like Jaco Pastorius, and just all these great musicians that I would feel something when I was younger, and I kind of lost that sight of that. And Robbie and Chris and now even Miguel show me music that just really makes me feel and a desire to create and learn more about music. And so I feel like, getting into this band is my second awakening into music, even though I've been doing it like more than half my life at this point, about half my life. So, yeah.
I've got a question.
So-
What's your favorite song that I've showed you?
And that was Robbie speaking.
Robbie speaking. This is Chris.
Interesting.
We're using the same mic. We're gonna pass it back and forth.
That's an interesting question. I gotta say, like, off the top of my head, like Holy Forest, but I'd really have to think, to be honest. Pink Shiny Ultra Blast.
That's a wild name. Actually, talking about wild names and stuff like that, let's talk about the origins of Delfino Squared.
Oh, jeez.
So this is important because a lot of people really don't know where the name Delfino Squared comes from, what it means. So let's hear
Let
it.
me answer this one. I don't know.
So Delfino Squared is inspired by a GameCube game called Super Mario Sunshine. It's me. And the area is called Isle Delfino. That's like where you play the game. That's where you're at. And there's a place called Delfino Plaza. And then there's actually a Mario Kart track called Delfino Square. I was like, huh. I like that. Like, I like the way that sounds. It sounds like it's just very euphoric. Like, it's reminiscent of, like, the euphoria of youth, you know?
Yep.
I just really enjoyed that. And so I was like, And then I was like, oh, since I take a lot of inspiration from a genre called math rock, I figured I'd throw a math reference in there and change the squared to squared. And then I could clown UCR because in the UCR, the math system, it's called web work. You do like an up caret and then you put in the number, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the exponent, and that's how that exponent works. So I was like, I could just do Delfino up caret 2, you know, like totally clown UCR, just big meme, you know?
Unfortunately, Spotify doesn't like up carrots.
Nor do people. Like people don't know
I
how to
don't think
do it.
anybody likes web work.
Yeah.
Every single person hates it, but it's a fantastic idea.
And that's the story of how we changed our name on Spotify to Delfino Squared spelled out.
Yeah, we are. Never mind.
As a matter of fact, as you're listening to this, you should also go listen to our EP Serena Sunsets
Go listen to Serena
on
Sunsets.
Spotify and Apple Music.
Nice casual plug. We're gonna go into that in a second.
Delfino Squared is also like, for me, it's a play on the nostalgia
Yep.
of those games and like that kind of era when you were a kid and you had all these new feelings and everything felt like really intense. And I think that's what we bring into our music. We bring like really intense emotions. Like if you hear a lot of our songs, there's a lot of something in there. Like Absence, there's the beginning, you feel really small, and then the end, you're just like exploding. Cozy Orchard, one of the new ones that is on the Sunset, feels like you're skydiving, like you're jumping off of a cliff. And it just like there's a lot of explosive emotion in the music. I don't know if people can feel it, but I definitely feel it when I'm performing it. And it's a play on the nostalgia and like all of the emotions that you feel when you're a kid and like everything you go through. And that's kind of what I try to do now in the writing of it, where it's like just whatever you're feeling, write it out. Like it's all like it. In no way is it going to make it worse if you write it. It's only going to make it better. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through, you start writing about it, you can understand it, and then it's like a step to, a lot of our stuff is about like being in a place that you don't want to be.
Yep.
Like a lot of our music is being in a place where you feel like bleak, but there's a lightness there's a light tint on all of our songs. There's a ray of hope in every single song.
Yeah.
And I think that just speaks to how we feel about the emotions that, a person feels like just growing up. Like we're still growing up. We're still feeling all these emotions and we're just writing songs as we're doing it. So hope people can feel that.
Escaping the Isle Delfino.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely that's important because that's actually relatable. A lot of people do have that they kind of feel trapped, but you want some kind of enlightenment or some kind of happiness at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, run away with us. Listen to our music.
Exactly. There you go. But kind of going off of that, unless you have something to add on to that. All right. So the next question I have kind of for you guys is, how did you guys come together to form this band? Because that's a unique story as well. I would give it to somebody else. Yeah.
Robbie, you want to? I feel like we were.
I want to answer a different question.
You want to answer a different question? Okay. So when the origins of Delfino Squared, I remember when this guy told me about he had been saying like we should start to make Robbie, sorry, excuse me. Yeah, so Robbie, when I was over the summer, I was in Mexico. I was studying at the National University in Mexico City, learning like Spanish, like trying to connect to my Mexican roots, and I was texting over WhatsApp, which is what everyone uses to communicate there. That just happens to be what Robbie uses to communicate.
Every Latin American country uses WhatsApp.
Every country except for
A lot of African countries use it as well. All
Everybody except the United States.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
pretty much, except for us.
I think China doesn't use it that much.
They got WeChat.
Probably,
They got WeChat. Yeah.
Anyway, texting over WhatsApp. Because like all my new friends I've met at like the university using WhatsApp, so I'm texting this guy over WhatsApp as well, a lot actually. I probably talked to Robbie over WhatsApp more than I did to anybody else that summer, like even including in person. I probably just talked to Robbie just in my free time, and we talked a lot about music. We talked a lot about different things. This was a point in time when I was listening to a ton of different music, just kind of expanding I got like really into trap music freshman year. It was a weird time, But like I was expanding out listening to a lot of different music, and Robbie was like, we should like start a band. Like you're good at bass, I'm good at guitar. Like Chris could sing. Like because me and Robbie would jam in the common rooms in the dorms, Pentland. For anybody from UCR listening, the Pentland dorms, we would jam out there. Oh, I'm so sorry. Chris would start singing with us every once in a while. And it was we would get some jams going, and actually I remember we would like play what eventually became Absence, and like my bass line was so much worse back then, but that's a story for another time. So I'm going off on a tangent. Robbie's telling me, he's like, we should start a band, the three of us. We'll find a drummer. We'll figure it out. At the time he was trying to contact this like dude that taught at a community college somewhere.
I hadn't agreed at this point. It was just them two talking.
Robbie
They were
was
like, Chris will join, and I didn't know.
Yeah, and hey, were we wrong though?
No, you aren't wrong.
Anyway, so we're like, we should start a band. He tells me we should call it Delfino Squared, and I was like, I actually didn't like it that much at first. I was like, that just doesn't like. Can we do Delfino Square? And you were like, there's someone that's already Delfino Square, which I'm sure you already wanted to be called Delfino Squared. But
yeah, it was just the Mario Kart track that was called Delfino Squared. I was like, I don't want Nintendo to sue us. That's probably my biggest fear at this point is actually that Nintendo.
It's an interesting fear, but it's pretty valid.
Oh, that's 100% valid, man. Nintendo is actually one of the only companies that doesn't allow for streaming, so you can't stream any of their games, live stream it. Yeah, so they're on it. Yeah, that was a good move, Robbie.
Please ignore us, Nintendo. Okay. We'll be kind.
We'll even buy the Labo.
We'll be good boys.
So yeah, that's how the band started. And then we wrote the demos in a week. Ethan Castro, who happened to be Chris and I's roommate for our second year, strangely enough, he was like, yeah, make a demo tape. And yeah.
He pulled us into the studio where we recorded a lot of the EP, and he was like, yeah, I had never done any of this before, so I don't know what I was doing.
That's not true, though. We actually only recorded drums at the studio.
That's true.
We had a couple of takes.
I did some of the vocals there too. Like we did some of the recording. A portion of the recording was done there.
Probably about half, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we were there and we sat down on the table and he goes, "You guys got to make demos for all your songs in a week." And I was like, "Okay, cool." I didn't know how hard it was gonna be. I had no idea.
Like, yeah, that can't be that hard.
I was like, yeah, dude, it's gonna be fine. And then Robbie and Samson were like shitting their pants.
Yeah, I recorded the EP in a week.
Yeah,
damn.
That's right.
2 days.
Like the actual EP.
Yeah, and that's why Miguel was the best
then,
member of Delfino Squared.
So then eventually, I met all these boys through a mutual friend. We
respect, bro.
We all lived in Glenmore that year. This is last year that we're speaking of.
Yeah.
And I listened to the EP, those songs that they're recording in a week, and I was like, it's not bad, but you know, I think they need a drummer for sure.
We needed a drummer. We needed a drummer.
Maybe they need drums.
And as I was listening to these tracks, in my car on my way home and back, I was just, I was writing drum parts as I listened to each of these songs. Like I knew exactly what they wanted without me even like I hadn't even met these guys before,
Yeah.
but I was like, I know what would make this song sound good, you know. And so then eventually Robbie, Samson, and I met up and we had like a jam sesh.
The most legendary jam sesh.
Yeah, this was actually October 20th, by the way, that we all met for the first time, except Chris. Chris was in Chicago.
Windy City, baby. Love that place.
Yeah, so we jammed out that day. We went through some ideas. I'm sure we went through Absence at that time. And yeah, that was that day. I guess, I don't know, you guys spoke about it and you guys were like, sure, this guy's all right.
We were like, wow.
I
We
was
weren't
in-
like, this guy's all right. We were like, this guy's so good.
I was in Chicago, and they're like, yeah, he's in the band. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Chris was really upset,
I
but we
was
were
like-
like, there's no question
I
about
was
it.
like,
I'm
dude,
sorry.
you can't just bring somebody in and not tell me.
There's no
And
say
then
at
we
all.
had the first practice. I was like, okay, I get it. I know what these guys
You
were
would have
thinking
made the
about.
same decision.
Yeah, no, I was literally like, I don't care. He's in. He's in.
it doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah,
Chris.
and a
No,
week
like,
later-
I'm sorry, buddy.
No, I'm glad.
A week later, we met up officially all together, and we played through some songs, and I had a lot of fun. By the way, I'd never played rock music before. Growing up, I was always listening to Colombian music, vallenato. I was always listening to salsa, merengue, cumbias, norteño, you name it. You know, like all the Mexican
I can't
genre,
name
all
it,
the all the
Yeah, dude, I get you.
Now your turn.
and I never listened, so I never grew up listening to the Beatles. I never grew up listening to classic rock music. I never listened to AC/DC. I don't know, like, I mean, besides what plays on the radio nowadays, but I for some reason, like, just playing rock with these guys, or liminal pop, as we like to call it.
We'll go into that in a second.
It was different for me, and I enjoyed that feeling of playing. So if you guys listen to Tangerine Daydream Part 1, there's that drum part. I couldn't play that the first time, and now we can play that. Now it's like just
Now we have trouble playing it too fast.
yeah, that's the problem now. Anyway, but just going back to, like, I didn't grow up listening to this style of music, which was different for me, and I enjoyed it. And that's how, essentially, we became Delfino Squared.
I love it. It's super diverse backgrounds. There's a lot of let's try stuff out and let's see what works. That's the stuff I love. That's how a real band is made. So kind of going off of that, do you guys consider your genre of music? Robbie, you
Okay.
can answer this one.
Here we go. This is the question.
This is a
I wanna
Robbie
answer.
question, for sure.
So I'm really disappointed about the state of rock currently, and I feel like it's a genre that still has life in it. You just kind of have to innovate in it. Now, I don't feel like that's been done. I feel like there's been a lot of really good copies and kind of halfway fusions of music of old, but it's never done anything new. So I was kind of motivated from the start to be like, okay, what can you do that's different but still kind of honors that spirit and fits that general rock pop format? And I'm somebody who also loves a ton of like crazy different musics, and all of these guys are too, super conveniently. And so just kind of naturally our influences showed in the parts we wanted to write with each other, and they showed in, you know, the chord changes that I came up with. And at the beginning it was me coming up with a lot of these chord changes and, you know, these different kind of dynamic parts and the way the songs would fit, and then I gave it to them, and then I'd kind of have them write it, you know.
Yeah.
Have them write their parts, and that worked really well. And now we do it a little bit more efficiently. You know, we know ourselves and our roles a little bit better, and our roles on different songs too. You know, we all take different leads. We want to be like as mixing it up as much as possible. You know, we all have a lot of respect for each other. We all have a lot of respect for each other, so we all want to see what we can produce. You know, so. Basically, we take all of these different, you know, influences that we have. A lot of them are fusions of pop, like with pop, right? Like, so like fusions of jazz and pop, fusions of rock and pop, you know, math rock and pop. That's what I consider our biggest fusion of. And we just try to fit it all in what we like, but we don't really have to try. It just kind of like comes out in the way we write things, the way we want to play things. And that's what liminal pop is, just the boundary between all of those different types of music.
Yeah. I just want to say, shout out to these three guys. I'm really, really new to music. I've only been like writing music for like a year, and they really like eased me into it really well. It hasn't been easy for sure. Like it's been tough. Like this is the first time I've ever been in a band and stuff like that, and it's been tough learning how to write and learning how to like work and write something good, and honestly kudos to like Robbie, Samson, and Miguel all, and they've introduced me to so much new music. I've been talking about this like the past week. When Robbie first showed me like math rock and all this stuff, and I first started hearing all this new music, like you hear it and you can feel it, right? At least for me, I can feel the music that's happening. I can kind of get a sense for it. But the longer I've been in this band, the more closely I listen to music so much differently now. I'm just like, I can understand it now. So the other day I was with my mom, and we were listening to a band called Delta Sleep, who we all really like.
Shout out Delta
Sleep. Thank you for coming to the U.S. We're so excited to watch you.
April.
And I was listening to it, and I was like, Mom, do you like this? And she says, yeah, it's pretty good. And I was like, Mom, you don't understand. I can actually hear it now. I know what's happening. I can hear the guitar, I can hear the drums, and I know what is happening. It's so crazy. Like they've really just opened. Like it feels like I was living life with shades on, and then they just pulled them off, and everything got really bright and just like big. It's just so like music is so much more than I thought it was. I always listen to stuff on the radio. Like I grew up listening to the Black Eyed Peas, And now I'm like,
Black Eyed Peas pretty good.
Black Eyed Peas go hard. Don't
They go hard. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all I listen to. Just stuff like that. I listen to the radio when
Just
my mom
just
took
pop
me to
music.
school.
Just
You know what I
always pop
mean? Like,
music,
because I didn't know where to look. Nobody in my family knew anything about music, and now I'm listening to some weird obscure shit that I know if I meet someone new, I'm like, they're not gonna know this one.
Yeah,
they're not gonna know
that's-
this. Like,
that's exactly
yeah,
what I
just like,
speak of, bro.
they got no idea what I know.
And do you know what math rock is? Nah.
Hey man, you know what shoegaze is?
Black gaze. How about Alcest?
No, but that's super important for you guys when it comes to how you guys are growing as a band and how you guys are gonna advance from here. Is just really understanding how diverse you guys are. Because when it comes to a band and kind of branding yourself in a business standpoint, really is like you got to really understand who you are and what you want to stand for and how you want to build your own audience. And I think you guys you're slowly figuring that out. And I can see with all your guys' performances. So I guess the next questions I have is now that you guys have created your first EP and you guys have music out there, what does it feel like to actually give a live performance? Because you guys had that performance at Whiskey Go Go, which is obviously amazing because literally the same week or the week before, Green Day performed there and Fall Out Boys performed there. So how did it feel to do that performance, to actually launch an EP? You guys are fully a band now and have people come out, pay tickets to see you guys play.
I think it's a wonderful experience. As for me, I never would have imagined people would have been paying tickets to go watch me play or watch us play. It wasn't something that I saw happening. I mean, playing at Whiskey Go Go within not even our first full year as a band was a huge milestone for us. And, the release of the EP went really well. We did, I don't know how many thousands of streams within like the first 2 weeks. Another milestone that I didn't think we were going to reach, another goal that I didn't think was going to happen, but it just happened. People loved the music. The people responded in a positive way. They come out to our shows, no matter if it's in LA or in Riverside. People are liking our music, and that's something I didn't expect, but something that I'm very surprised and thankful for. And so I don't know.
I have something to say, but you can go too.
I guess we'll just go in a circle.
Yeah, circle words. I don't know what performing after an EP makes me feel like is. I want to make another EP.
There we go. There we go.
Because
Which
since
the sessions have started.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, because since the beginning, at our very first concert, or our very first performance ever, was like some house show, shout out Blue Season. They, we played songs that aren't on our EP. Some of them, like Focus, that we pretty much have scrapped now. Who knows? But like,
It's
shout
a
out
song
for the
in
few
7.
people-
It's a song in the time signature
Yeah.
of 7/4, I
7/4,
believe.
7/8, something like
It's
that. But
it's so difficult to play that song. That's why we kind of scratched that out. But anyway,
yeah, but shout out for everyone who saw that song. It was cool. The ending was really cool. I kind of liked it. But
Oh, really?
they sang, yeah.
We had the melody was
Oh, that's so dope.
and then I stopped singing and they kept singing it.
Oh, that's
And we
so
were like,
dope.
what?
I was like, what do I do now? But anyway,
Yeah,
continue.
but we've been writing music. We wrote those first 5 songs mostly due to Robbie being an absolute Chad at guitar and being an absolute monster songwriter. Like he just had these 4 songs, and then eventually I wrote a song. We kind of wrote. I wrote a few songs, and now we have this music for our next EP that we consistently play at every show that we play. Sometimes we don't even we play the EP every single time, but we have more songs. We don't really like playing covers, to be honest. This is Finger's pretty fun. But oh, by the way, I think my favorite song you've shown me is actually Finger. I lied. Yeah, it's definitely Finger. But
shout out Elephant Jim.
yeah, it's exhilarating. When I first started to get into music, when I played a solo concerto with an orchestra accompaniment in my junior year of high school, I felt like a superstar. Just in that little sense, like there was just like parents and like classmates. There wasn't a lot of people, but I felt like I felt like Rush. I felt powerful playing. But that was like the one time, every once in a while in an orchestra, we were playing a piece that I actually really liked. It was never like I was playing my own original music. And that every single time every single time I play it on my own or perform it or just, rehearse it with these guys, I just feel it every time to the max. And yeah, so that's what performing after making an EP with these guys feels like.
I think it's cool to play after EP because people recognize songs sometimes. That gets me really hyped. Like when people will be like, "Oh, that part's coming," and like cheer. It's like, "Oh, yeah."
Were people actually like singing you guys' songs, like actually knew the lyrics?
Surprisingly, a lot of people who I didn't think would like do.
Barbara Jackson.
Okay, yeah. My mom is like the best. I mean, of course. Yeah, shout out my mom. Happy birthday. Happy late birthday.
But still, that was only about what 2.5 weeks before you guys performed. So in 2.5 weeks, people were actually learning your lyrics already.
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
the first show?
No, at the Whiskey A Go Go.
Oh,
well, yeah, and we had kind of tossed our we had tossed our EP around to like the close fans,
Yeah.
like people who like we wanted the criticism and the feedback
People
from,
who
anything
deserve to
last
hear
minute. Yeah,
I'm just
playing at the
I'm
Whiskey
sorry.
A Go Go was only sick because people showed out. Like I was really nervous. Like I was like, oh gosh, like we were
So
like stressed
scary.
out. We started late, like everything like Murphy's Law essentially. Like we knew it was gonna happen like that. We were prepared for it, but it was just like, oh, of course. But people were there and they loved it, and we had practiced it a lot, so we didn't have a very terrible. I thought we had a pretty decent performance. I just wasn't as into it as I usually am. So that's kind of how, because I was nervous and because we started late. I had to cut 2 songs. Sad face.
Wait, how many songs total did you guys perform then?
like 6 or 7.
Yeah, like
6 or 7. Okay, you still got a solid set then.
Oh, yeah. We got more than we could have gotten, for sure.
Yeah.
We're very grateful to have been in that position.
Yeah, you guys just need to come out more to our shows so you guys can listen to the rest.
Oh,
Yeah,
you guys have plenty of shows coming later down the line.
We do, but everyone who's listened to this or has heard our music and hasn't seen us live, like you're missing out. To be completely honest, like we compensate a lot for whatever the EP was.
That's
but,
a good segue into what I'm gonna say about how I feel performing after the EP is. The entirety of Delfino Squared has been complete catharsis for me. Every time I perform, even in rehearsal, these guys see it all the time. I try to feel everything that I'm saying. I try to feel everything that I'm singing. I do my best to make sure that that I'm not just like bullshitting you. You know that whatever I'm saying is what I feel.
Yep.
Or what somebody else has felt. and I'm trying to do my best to convey that in the way that they want it to be conveyed.
Yeah.
Like Robbie writes some like lyrics to almost half the songs. Samson writes lyrics. Miguel's, I'm sure, gonna write lyrics, and I know that.
Nah, fam.
Yeah,
Wait,
well, it's
my-
gonna
my
be
2 weeks is
Spanish,
Spanish,
bro. Come on. But anyway, I think that I have a good ability of understanding what people feel, and being able to convey that has been complete catharsis for me. When I'm on stage, I just let it all flow, and the whiskey was just like that. It was crazy to see people standing and that kind of energy. 'Cause we've played at places in LA before and stuff like that. We played at parties, but there's nothing like being on a stage.
All the lights
with the blue lights, bro. Insane, dude.
The lights went so
The tint was
hard.
crazy. I was living in outer space on that stage. It was so insane, and I remember this one moment. It was it's just so awesome being in a band and performing. My dad was on the balcony, and we were playing a cover of Santeria, and it's like one of the songs where it's like, whoever hears it is gonna understand it. They know what's going on. They know what to expect, and we put our own spin on that.
Yeah.
We definitely do it our own way. And I was looking at my dad. I was pointing at him through like 10 seconds of the song. It was probably one of the best moments of my life. I remember when we got that gig, I was like, this is going to be the best moment of my life. And pointing at my dad and being up there was just the moment.
As we were driving
That
to
was
Whiskey A Go-Go, Chris was telling me like his goal was just to make someone cry in the audience. Like he just wanted to make someone feel exactly what
Did it
he
happen?
was saying.
Did it happen?
It happened to me.
All right. Well, that's
I'm
fair
just
enough.
kidding. I'm just kidding. No. Yeah, dude, I'm a soft boy. I can't handle it.
I was
don't know if
crying
I'm
because
soft
my
boy.
parents weren't there. I'm just kidding.
Damn.
No, but something you guys got to know about Chris though is he doesn't sing every single song the same way every single time, which is why he was saying that he really puts his emotions on to what he's feeling on every single word he says. He really does try to convey those feelings every single time that he's singing. It's not the same way every single time. So I think that's worth mentioning.
I didn't even realize that. I didn't realize that that's why I do that, but that makes a lot of sense.
he's got like the fiery spirit of a performer, just like to the max. It's insane.
Yeah.
Nice. Really appreciate the way that you really slowly put down that water bottle.
Oh.
Yeah. It really worked out. But to kind of close out this podcast, I guess the final thing we want to talk about is what's next. What's going to happen next? Because the realistic picture here is within about 6 months, when you guys really started, getting after it with the music, a lot has changed. A lot has grown. You guys, like I said, you guys have officially become a real band.
Thanks to you.
So,
Shout
it's
out.
only a part.
Yeah.
But it's the artists that make the music, and that's what matters. And at the end of the day, now that you guys have an EP out, you guys had this experience with Whiskey A Go-Go, you guys know that people fuck with your guys' music and really appreciate your guys' music. So what's next? What are you guys going to do next?
Make another EP. Haha.
Get better. Yeah, every day, it's so crazy. The more serious it's gotten, the more like real it's been. I practice so much harder now. It feels so real. It's my life now. I woke up this morning and sang for like 2 hours. I would have never done that before. Like I just literally put my earphones on and sing to myself because I have to practice, because I have to be that good, because I want people, because I want. When we have a perfect live performance, when we perform a song and we're like, wow, that was it, I want people to feel that every time. I want people to feel what we feel when we play the song, because it's so intense. It's so powerful. I tell you, I listen to our own songs sometimes and I get chills because I just know exactly what we're saying, and it's so intense. Samson said it well. We are a fireball. We are a fireball in the form of a band. And I just want to be able to convey that to people. And I know that people will eventually get it because we're so dedicated to it and we work so hard that this next EP is going to be insane. It's going to blow your nuts
Bless
off.
you,
Val.
Robbie.
I already blew off.
I'm gonna tell you
Robbie's
about
nuts,
I'm gonna tell you about the future. If you like our music right now, you're not ready. That's just
Yeah, but we are doing stuff different. We've moved it into our own house now, and so now we're recording a lot of our own parts at home. We're kind of nuts. Like we really like having control over a lot of our sound, or as much of our sound as we can. Like getting the perfect take, you know, and that's
Favorite
like
indie band
such
would
like
never.
a, you know, it's my hubris as a musician, you know, just like, oh, I need it, you know, but we'll get closer with the more takes we have. Like, I'll understand it better, and we're already in like being able to do this. I'm able to take it slow. I'm able to take it at my own pace, and I'm feeling a lot more confident about it. We're also, thanks to you guys coming out, thanks to you guys buying our merch, streaming our stuff, we're able to get more equipment that we want to use to get our sound somewhere. And so we're excited about that too. We're excited to finally invest more in that, get you know, the bass sound we really want, you know, really work through it and try to get it on a good schedule. You know, now that we have the experience of one EP, we can have a realistic understanding of what we can do.
Yeah.
So we're doing all those things differently, and we hope it'll pay off. We think these ideas are really good, so we hope you like it. The EP is called The Rain City Cafe.
All right.
Boom.
Boom.
Slap it on the table.
Slap it on.
Yeah, I just think I mean, more shows definitely. I want another Whiskey a Go-Go moment. Probably not at Whiskey, but another place. I know there's the Fox Theater in Pomona, or the Glass House or something like that. I don't know, something big, again, to keep the people on their feet.
The Staples Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I mean, when it comes to music, you guys already surpassed where most artists get in about 3 years. So you guys done that 6 months, and it's as long as you guys progress and you guys are patient with your guys' music, I can only see big things. So just keep it up, keep doing what you're
Val.
doing, and just if you guys have any final remarks or any final comments you guys want to make, we'll kind of close it out on that, and that's it.
I just want to say thank you so much to everyone for your support. It means the world to us, and it only motivates us more to you know, push forward and keep doing what we're doing, and you know, just that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love you guys. Everybody. Like everybody's that's listening to our music, anything. Like you guys are fantastic. That's all I can really say. That's all there's to be said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just thank you.
Thank you for lending an ear. You've allowed me and all of us to express our emotions in ways that we wouldn't be able to otherwise. So for us to have, you know, honestly, our fan base is really, really cool. Like, all the people who tell us that they like our music come up to us after the show. Like, I like every single one of them. I'll hang out with them anytime. It's just been great.
We need more friends.
Yeah, like if you see any of us on campus, please say hi.
Yeah,
like we don't
for
bite.
sure.
We want friends.
Let's talk music, dude. Let's talk music. Let's talk anything.
Or you can add Robbie on Pokemon Go.
Yeah. And we'll let Robbie, band leader, finish it out for us.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for listening. If you've listened this far, we appreciate it, and you taking an interest just makes us happier. It's meant to just kind of be felt, our music is, and that's really what we want more than anything, you know, more than like any type of like success. I just want people to feel it and for it to help people, you know, so I hope that happens.
Oh.